Be working with Dakota in protective contact, and we're going to be introducing girthing up Surcingle. So she's already seen the Surcingle, she's already used to like the girth pressure around her belly with the rope, and she's had the Surcingle on, and then I just tightened it like with my hands. But now I'm going to actually like try to tighten it and buckle it on her, or prepare her a little bit more for it. So I wanted to just use protective contact, kind of like I used with Mustangs, but they were at Liberty. For her, I just left the halter on, and she can walk away if she wants. I'll just let her go to like to the end of the rope there. So she let me put that on her back. She wasn't too worried about that. So that looks good. I like that she's being relaxed. She's not moving around. She's not shifting. She's not looking out or like wanting to leave. So all those are good signs. Just going to take it off and then put it back on. And once it goes on, I'm going to click there. You can see her head go up if you didn't hear the click. And then I'm going to feed her. So that looks pretty good. Give her a couple of handfuls here because I want having the Surcingle on to be a positive thing and not like a stressful negative one. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. So I'm just gonna let her hang out and chew those handfuls real quick, and then I'll pick up back with the Surcingle. So you want to be careful that you don't feed too much. Like I know you want to reward the horse and give them lots of handfuls, but you don't want the horse to choke either. So I have like Timothy hay pellets, and I put water in them first, and then I pour the water out so like they're all damp, and that seems to work really well. But again, you just want to be careful that you don't give your horse like super large bites or like mouthfuls so they don't choke on the food. So I'm just having her change sides, and we're just going to do the same thing on the other side here. And she's been learning to side pass over there. She did it. I should have clicked that because she stepped over in response to my hand. So this is kind of how you teach it too if you hadn't seen with the other horses. But you teach the horse the side passed away from the stick, um, away from you when you're on the same side, and then once they're solid with that, you change sides, you put a cue, and then you use the stick on that opposite side. You just kind of reach over there. So she's still learning that behavior as well. So that's not super solid, but I'm still using the stick for that. But she did really well considering, especially since she's really close to the fence, and some horses are pretty worried about side passing up to something. And feeling they don't have enough space. But she looks really relaxed today. This looks pretty good. This looks nice. Um, I think she raised her head there because I clicked. Um, I'll have to, when I voice these over, I don't hear the audio because it messes up the recording. So I want to say that it was when I clicked she lifted her head up and not necessarily because of the surcingle, but I could be wrong. But I mean, I put it back on this time. She seems totally fine. So I would pay attention to that and make sure that if your horse is raising their head because of the surcingle or because of the click. Because if they're just raising it because of the click and they're kind of excited, that's totally okay. But if they're raising it every single time, like you put, like for example, a surcingle on their back, then they might be uncomfortable and you might have to break that behavior down a little bit. So something to think about. I'm using my stick here to just grab that girth, and then I can go ahead and tighten it up a little bit. I put the buckle through the little billet, I pull it all the way up, and then I click while it's tight, and then I let go, and then I'll feed. So that looked really nice. I'm just gonna take it off. I had to adjust the girth. You can take it off in between, like just to kind of, it gives them like a little bit of a release of pressure. So like if your horse is maybe struggling with it a little bit, you don't necessarily have to. It's kind of your preference and then how the horse is feeling. Your horse should have been standing quietly for quite a while, like quite a long period of time with just the surcingle on before you do this, so that they're okay with it being on for a while, and then tightening it up so that they're not just uncomfortable with having it on in general. You want to have all those pieces taken care of first. So again, I'm going to tighten the girth up a little bit, and then I click while it's tight, and then I'll let it go. And she's okay with it swinging around as well, so that's a good sign. So I'm just going to grab it again, and this time it was kind of swinging toward me, so I could just grab it, and she's pretty cool with that. I've done it before, so she didn't seem like she was going to kick or anything. She doesn't look very tight either. So again, I'm just doing the same thing. Once the girth is pulled tight, I'm clicking and feeding. So this looks pretty good. She seems pretty relaxed. I like where her head and neck is. She's not moving around, she's not wiggling, so she seems pretty comfortable with the whole thing. So that's good. She had a head up there, so I don't know if that was me tightening or again if that was just the click. I'm gonna say it's probably just the click because she seems pretty relaxed throughout this whole thing. It's like right, let's see, I'm getting the buckle, the billet for the buckle, and then yeah, tightened it there. So she didn't have her head up that time either. So that's a good sign. But yeah, I'm just gonna do this multiple times. Just get her used to like when pressure's on her belly, like, and it's on there, it's a good thing. So then from here, like, I'm just gonna hold that pressure a little bit longer. And like that time, I just put both billets through the buckles because there's two on there. The first few times I was just doing one. So I just kind of spend more time at the surcingle there. So I'm just gonna play with that a little bit. And there, I actually have it on there, and then it kind of, like, I'll let it out, but they kind of get stuck on there, so it kind of swung after I had already let go of it. But I'm just making sure that she'll stand there and she's okay with me actually messing with the billet. So there, it's tightened up a little bit. And because you remember, like, you want the horse to be okay with it being tightened for a few seconds there, because I'm going to tighten it, walk to her head, and then go back to it. So that's why I do so much of like tightening it, holding for a couple seconds, and then letting go. Tighten it, hold for a few seconds, let go. So she has a little bit of duration on having it tight, because eventually, like this, I want to tighten it, buckle it, and then feed her, and then let it go. And then again, from there, build up. So she backed up a little bit. She might be slightly uncomfortable, but it could just be her moving a little bit because she just took one step. So again, just kind of pay attention to that. I'm giving her a little jackpot here because she's standing here with the girth tightened up. So that looks fantastic. I love that. And I like that she was very willing to come back to the fence. That's a really good sign as well. She's participating and not real concerned about that. She might have been a little worried there because she went ahead and brought her head up. But then she came back, so that's okay. Not sure if she was just a little worried about the sound or what that was, but reinforce her for having it on here. And when I do actually tighten it, I tighten it enough to where it's not going to come off or like slide back, because we don't want that, but I don't do it super, super tight either. So I'm just giving her a little jackpot while the surcingle is tight, and then I'll go ahead and loosen it and let it go. So she's got maybe a little bit of tension, I would say, with a couple backup steps and the head coming up, but overall it looks really good. Better than probably the majority of the things that I've been doing with her. She's accepting of this a lot more. Probably because I was a lot more, like, I had a lot more steps. I was a lot more systematic about it. I followed most of those steps. I probably could have broken this down a little bit more. And then went through it in those steps, and she might feel better about it because of the protected contact as well. I'm not really sure, but lots of steps to do the saddle, because I don't really mess around with saddling. I don't like just putting it on and hoping for the best. I don't do that. I do lots of little steps to make sure that they're comfortable with it and they're positive and everything stays positive. I want them to have good associations with the saddle and not bad ones. So that's probably what plays into this a lot. So this looks a lot better as well, where I can kind of put my leg over her and she's not moving around. She moved a little bit because I think she was trying to get to the food and get her head to like bend so she could get it, but the fence was in her way. She's moving up nicely there. She seems pretty relaxed, more so than you'd seen in that other video where I sped it up and she was just like super uncomfortable. There, yeah, she's got some still movement there. That might be confusion as well, but she has a history of being uncomfortable.